Thursday, friends. How are you? I'm Peter Bowden. I'm so glad you're here. This session, this live session with replay, is on really looking at what is now the first visit that newcomers to congregations have. To grow a congregation, your visitors need to have a good first visit, second visit, etc. So they keep coming back, get connected to your congregation, and of course that you can get to know them, they get to know you, they can get involved in the work, mission, ministry of your congregation can grow, and you can live happily ever after. All right. If you're going to grow your congregation, if you're going to have a viable congregation, your visitors need to have a great first visit. Now, in today's world, that visit is essentially the experience visitors have when they're researching your congregation, when they think they might want to get involved. So what used to be going, getting involved, participating, being around you live, face-to-face in 3D, first visit, that's later. First visit, online and on demand. So we're going to talk about that, because if you don't really pay attention and make that experience helpful, warm, friendly, successful for them, many aren't going to follow through and connect with your congregation. So, but first, who's tuning in? Where are you tuning in from? Let me grab the chat. And I'm going to lower my volume a little bit. I'm excited for this one. All right. Let's see. Diane, Becca, it's great to have you here. All right. Ohio, New York. And of course, there are a lot more people tuning in via YouTube after. So welcome. You're always welcome to say hi in the comments after the live session is over. So this session is part of it's really the development process for a new workshop I'm working on, a free workshop for everyone in my training community, which includes you, if you're watching this, on building a digital path to membership. So the end of May, that's going to be released last week of May, early June, like right around then. If you're on my email list, you're going to get access to that. I'll send out a link, and it'll be about an hour on-demand mini course that you and your leaders can look at, review, and really give you some foundational strategy. So get ready for that. Make sure your leaders are looking for that. I love congregational life. I value all that you do, and working with ministry and media for as long as we've had social media and video, like going way back to when YouTube came out. I just know how important it is to wrap your mind around the fact that people connect with congregations in different ways. And if we're not updating your approach, your congregation can suffer. And like the world needs what you have to offer. So I'm making this little mini course available so that everyone can get like at least this level of foundation. Just like get oriented to the digital world so you can be of service. Now, before we get going, if you find this content helpful, just give me a little subscribe, like. It's nice to get that little YouTube feedback so I know, like, do you value this? And also, if you like to walk, exercise, do dishes, and listen to strategy content for congregations, everything I put on YouTube, I'm now doing via podcast. So just search for The Peter Bowden Show on your podcast app, and you're good to go. All right? You can do dishes, do laundry, walk the dog, whatever, and tune in. So, trying to be efficient. All right, let's get into this whole concept of the first visit is really online and on demand. So this is something I've been talking about for a while, and it continues to be affirmed, and people being like, yes, this is my experience as a newcomer. I'm talking to newcomers all the time. Like, I'm very active on social media, and newcomers to congregations actually will reach out and be like, hey, what you were saying, that was my experience. So when somebody is interested in a congregation, and this applies to other things in our lives, they don't go into this mode where they're like, oh, there's a congregation, I'm looking for, say, spiritual community or religious home, whatever their specific need is. I'm going to go and visit the congregation and spend some time amongst the people to evaluate it. No, we're in this digital age. So our culture, the way we've been living for years now, is when you have a question about something, you grab your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, and you go into an active research mode, like right then and there. Is this right for me? Do I want this book? Am I going to that restaurant? Which car to get? Where am I taking my family on a vacation or going to do service work? Whatever it is, we do online research. So for your congregation, really to maximize your impact, and grow your membership, if you're serving people who are digitally oriented, using computers and smartphones, is that you? Are you serving people who are using these technologies? Let me know in the comments. We have to optimize our experience for visitors for what I consider to be this active but potentially short research mode. So what does this mean? We need to get laser focused on, and this takes some experimenting, what does a newcomer to our congregations, and just, I'm a lifelong Unitarian Universalist, married to a minister. A huge percentage of the leaders I work with are Unitarian Universalists, but humanists, Buddhists, others, progressive Christians, business leaders. I work with a lot of different kinds of clients, but kind of with a Unitarian Universalist example. But the same for your congregation if you're a different tradition. If someone's going to say, be researching you and say, land on your website, click a newcomer button or a visitor button, and read, watch some videos, look at some photos, what do they need to see in that moment? Think like a 5-minute experience. They're going to give you 5 minutes maybe, could be less, could be more depending on the person, to determine, is this place for me? Now, there's a lot we can do on social media, various things, to be sharing information all the time. I know a lot of congregations are really working hard on their outreach and putting out a lot of social media content. But then when I look at their websites, it's what's on the website for visitors is like a boring Wikipedia page. It's so you were founded in, whatever it is. What we want is when people land on your website and they're trying to discern for themselves, for their lives, is this place for me? Are these my people? Are we a match for each other? It's kind of like online dating. What do they need to know? And so to really design that visitor page and maybe some associated content on surrounding pages so that somebody can be is this for me? And they can get it's this kind of congregation that values these things, that's working for these outcomes, addressing these justice efforts. And if I get involved, what's my experience going to be like? So we're really trying to figure out, for people who are researching, exploring, and trying to very quickly assess, is this right for me? How do we streamline, package, and distill that information into what they need? And so what I recommend you do is, as a congregation, now sometimes people are I don't have time to do this work. I'm friends, this is the type of thing that you can do once and then refine. So to gather some leaders, it could be after a board meeting, other meetings, and ask people, start asking the question, when you were researching or exploring our congregation, what is it that made you feel like you were in the right place? What is it that made you feel like I'm going to belong there? And start asking the questions, and you will very quickly find some themes. And to work to get that messaging on your website where your visitors are getting their information and experimenting with that. So really just digesting it down. And it doesn't need to be long. Sometimes it's just a simple statement about welcoming congregations, what that is, and certain justice issues that we've been working on for decades is enough for people to be this is where I belong. All right. So you'll have to experiment to figure out what's right for you. It's your congregation, your mission. But just know that when people land, it's all right, giving them the streamlined, condensed, we're this kind of congregation, we're working these issues. if you're looking for, and think about your visitors, these things, we think you're going to love it here. Now, I work a lot with video. My training, Video Ministry Academy and Video Message Academy. I'm working on a nonprofit version of that. I go through like very detailed, like how do you use video on websites and social media and et cetera to build relationships. If you're interested in like higher, like that, like serious training and like some content outlines, check out the video description for Video Message Academy and Video Ministry Academy. But you can figure this out. It's not, I like to say, it's not rocket science. It's relationship, okay? So if somebody's going to develop a sense of like rapport for you, your congregation, your leaders, like I think having a video with your minister, other leaders, if you have a membership coordinator or volunteers working with welcoming and hospitality, to have video content on your visitor page where when somebody lands on that page, it's like they're being greeted on demand. So there's an actual human being that's saying, welcome, we're so glad you're here. And then walking them through like, this is who we are. And this is what we're working on. This is what we're about. This is what we're doing with families, et cetera, et cetera. And then, like if you're looking for this, we'd love to meet you. We'd love to. And then you need to specify, how do you get involved? So really answer people's questions, affirm, and give them a real clear path. I recommend congregations figure out what's the best process that you recommend for people to get involved. Is it going to a newcomer event? Is it doing X, Y, or Z on a Sunday? And really specify it and include RSVP for that right on the page. People are always going to do whatever they want, but if you give them a clear path, it reduces the anxiety. So really just thinking like streamlining on-demand content. I like to think of it like, think about if you go way back a number of years, the content that we used to do when people would visit, start getting involved, and we'd have like, oh, here's like a newcomer welcome and a Q&A with the minister. Here's a such and such 101 conversation. Just like kind of like the very almost casual, like, oh, you're getting oriented to who we are. You have some questions. There's Q&A. That content, that needs to be online, on demand, so that when someone's researching you, like think about the path to membership. There's all this information you get, like what's this place about, the history, the this, how do things work, etc. What do they care about? What are the values? What's the theology? Like things that, like that whole path, getting to the point where like, I'm ready to join. I think at least half that path to membership, the content people are looking for to feel like they're ready to join, they want that online so that like they're not going to visit. People don't visit unless they know what they're getting into these days. Like people want to make a well-informed decision. So the more we can give them that content in advance, the better. So now how do you do this without being like, oh, we're too busy, we're maxed out? I recommend you start with a conversation where like, all right, we want to make sure that we are addressing people's questions on our website. And you can all share this stuff via social media too. And really helping them discern if we're the right congregation for them. And so what we're going to do is like agree to do this as a team, staff, volunteers together, associated committees. For this next season, I mean, you could work and do really fast, but just like over a period of time, say, whether it's right now, the next season, the kind of like cycle of congregational life, whether it's like September, people watch my video content like over time. So it could be whatever season for you. Is it the fall? Is it after January? But really be like, all right, as we're dealing with our newcomers, working on membership development, greeting people, etc., before we start implementing new stuff online, we're going to actively capture every single question. Like I want you, like anyone who's dealing with greeting, hospitality, membership development, ministers and staff answering people's questions, you set up a Google document where you're like just together collaboratively tracking the questions so that like over a period of time, you can just be like, oh, these are the questions that come up. We never knew that. Like people keep asking us like, what's your child care facility look like? What are the safety precautions? Are the people trained? And like, there are all these questions about infant care that we didn't realize people really had until we started collecting it. And if we put that stuff on our website, ooh, we could be reaching more young families. So really try and research that. I mean, like collectively gather that and then use that to be your guide. All right, how can we answer these questions at like the top questions, the recurring themes, as efficiently, effectively as possible? And that could be via some different video content. The main thing though is to know that like we're working to help people, I like to say, pre-qualify for membership. Pre-qualify for membership. So if you think about what does someone need to know to feel like they're able to join the congregation before they actually step foot, say, in the building or start participating actively, how do we deliver that? And so that's just like a collective effort that you need to work on. The good news is that if you're setting it up on a visitor page, we're not talking about making content week after week and doing lots of new things. It's more like figure out what the people who are continually researching your congregation need, like your ideal members, or the continuum or like the spectrum of people who are involved in your congregation. What are their questions? From the interfaith family to humanists, atheists, these people, all the different kinds of people in our congregations, what do they need? And then offering that to them. I want to share that in terms of social media, because a lot of congregations are putting lots of effort into social media, which can be fantastic. I love social media. We need to make sure we're using social media effectively. One of the things social media does is it can bring people in to your website. And so I see a lot of websites, like as people enroll in my programs, I'll look at everyone's website and kind of assess, all right, where are their problems, and do a little, offer some specific tips and make sure that I'm addressing questions, or ideas, strategies that'll help them. A lot of times, you're doing all this social media outreach, people come to your website, and it's not optimized for positive experience. So like people are like, oh, forget that. Like, oh, sure, that little video on Instagram was interesting, but like, I can't deal with this. So we want to optimize the visitor landing page, visitor experience. But in terms of, so that's just important. Like if you're doing a lot with social media, make sure you're making it so that newcomers can actually successfully connect. And that's more for me, website. With your social media, staff, volunteers, whoever is posting content, there's a lot of great content being shared, but not as much as I'd like to see that's starting conversation. And what I want you to think about is in terms of an on-demand experience. If I'm getting to, an online experience, if I'm doing research, I'm trying to figure out what this congregation is like, I've looked at the content you have on your website, I'm like, oh, it's very interesting. But you know what? There's something missing. People might not be thinking this out loud, but you know what? People want a sense of belonging, connection, rapport with the leaders before they go, which is a really challenging thing. Like, how do you give someone the sense that they're going to belong in the congregation before they get involved? How do you do that? It's actually very simple. Here's what you do. As you're, say, congregations, you're doing weekly services. Whatever your service is about, I challenge the person leading that service, whoever's like speaking, preaching, offering the message. I want you to take some bit of content that's related to your theme. So if you're probably finding this during your research process. If not, you need to find it. Where you're taking something that's like popular culture, an article, a video, something that's not about your congregation, but that's absolutely related to the theme. TED Talk, this article, that thing, something, a YouTube video, a podcast episode, something people can read, watch, or listen to. And you share that via your Facebook page, Twitter, any social media you can that accepts links, and you say, this Sunday, whether you're talking about our speaker or if I'm posting the first person, I'm going to be addressing the impact of, example, what is artificial intelligence and Chat GPT doing to our sense of the value of humanity, and like where are we going? Do we need humans? What do our young people think? Here's a great article by such and such, or video, etc., about these new technologies. Tell me what you think. Take a listen, watch it, read, tell us what you think. So you're taking something that's absolutely related to your service. It's something that people, sometimes our congregations can get very internally focused. And for newcomers, it's really nice to have someone like, oh, here's a great article that I can read. I relate to it. It's like content I'm interested in. And when you ask a questions related to this very accessible piece of content that you've shared, you're making room for conversations with whoever's posting that, and newcomers and existing members. And when you do that, you're creating a little space for community right on your social media post. All right. So just like whatever you're speaking about, if you're using theme-based ministry, whatever, you just what's something that's inspiring, exciting, interesting related to that, share it. And with a great little prompt like, hey, we're going to be diving into the issue this weekend in the service being led by whoever. This article is going around, or here's a popular article on that. What do you think about, and ask a question. We keep way too much content on hold for services. I want you to bring more of that online and engage people during the week. And by doing, asking questions and starting conversation between your services through posting content like that. But it could also be sharing a photo from your congregation. If you're doing something, if you're having ice cream after a service for a special event, towards the end of the year, say, hey, having ice cream on Sunday. What's your favorite flavor? I have heard from people that it's just little interactions on social media posts that made people feel welcome. It's like they answered the simple prompt, had a little interaction with someone, and that warmed their heart enough to be like, you know what? I think I can do it. So just those two approaches, that really on-demand content, that text, photo, but especially video, that can help people pre-qualify themselves for membership, answer all their questions. That's going to get more people to follow through with actually visiting. And we want the real visitors because we want to welcome them into the heart and life of your congregation. And then as you're posting social media content, really be thinking about how do we make this online experience actually interactive, welcoming, and relational for people who might be new. And another thing you can do, and I said that I do like to come up with strategies that don't take a lot of effort. Say you have a certain process for welcoming people into your congregation. You have a welcome table. You might create a post where every week you're posting something, the exact same kind of thing, about how you're welcoming people, what it's going to be like if people visit on Sunday, and if they have any questions to ask you, right on Facebook, so that or other social media platforms, so that people who are checking you out online are like, oh, they're actually waiting for us, and they're going to answer our questions. So I hope that helps. Question-wise, don't have a lot of time for questions. I will say, within Video Ministry Academy, I have lots of examples. I do collect examples from students, so sharing a lot of that within our community. Feel free to email me if you want a few examples. I'm happy to share that. I don't have a public space where I have all those examples. But my hope for you, just as we wrap up, is that as you're moving into this next season of congregational life, you really pay attention to the fact that almost everyone who's going to connect with your congregation potentially as a new member, they have to, the norm is to go through some kind of digital process of exploring you, researching your congregation, and discerning if they think that it's a match for them in their lives, what they want for the world, the kind of world that they want to create, and that they are going to be welcome and affirmed if they actually connect.